Hello and welcome to the GRL Division 4 Round 2 at the Canadian Grand Prix as we get ready to start qualifying here with a fairly underwhelming grid today. 12 turning up so far, 1 saying they're on their way, so hoping for a grid of 13 this time out. Bit disappointing number wise, we were expecting around 17, 18. But here we are nonetheless. Few things to mention from last time out before a couple of cars with Ferrari making their way out onto the grid. The finishing order was a bit different than how we saw it on the live stream last time round, and that is due to a couple of incidents that happened during the race. Unfortunately, we are unable to get everything that happens, but unfortunately, Pikachu was unable to hold on to his win, and he was given a 10-second time penalty for causing an incident with DV, and that is the incident that we caught on camera with Maka and DV, which I thought was Maka's fault, or it was just a coming together and it wasn't really anybody's fault, but apparently it was Pikachu's, and it was a hit from behind that caused that. So he's been given a 10-second penalty upon stewards decision making and having a look at that. The Ferrari's been disqualified. I've just noticed that, and I don't know what the hell he's done. Okay, well, sure, whatever they want to do. Couple of other things. We've got Maka being given a penalty for a late move against Untied Stone last week, and also a reprimand, a 5-second penalty, and a huge chunk of. And he got 15 points deduction for this. Was IRT Apex, which I believe was just PE Apex there in the Ferrari, who's been DQ'd already, so it really shows his class of field there. And he was given this for an unsafely return to track, which I think we may have just missed, but I think that was at the very beginning of the race, lap 1. So that just changes the order up a little bit from last time out. So rather the order that we saw and went from, it just changes it up a little bit. So the actual finishing results here, we got Micello, who lovely man, managed to. He actually reached out to me and said, "You're pronouncing my name wrong," and I said, "Okay, what is it then?" He sends me a lovely Google Translate note to play it right, and I was like, "Okay, no worries." But Micello takes the win. Then we have the Aston Martin CF23 in third, PDV2, which I believe was the other Ferrari on the day. He snaps up third place. And then we have Pikachu finishing down in fourth. An unfortunate result for him in the end there after such a brilliant drive, taking full advantage of that second safety car last time out. But we're here at Canada, and it's the second round of the championship here in the GRL as we get underway with some qualifying laps. 14 corners here at the Canadian Grand Prix on the little man-made island in Montreal. 6 to the left, 8 to the right, with 3 DRS zones, and one of them just being activated now for the Haas as he comes down onto Casino Straight on his first flying run here. Let's see what sort of lap time he can put in as a banker lap, making sure he doesn't cut this final chicane. Very important, easy to do as well. And as Maka sets the first run time of a 1:15.8, Josh immediately responding with a 1:11.0. I think Maka just setting a lap down. Maybe he made a mistake in that lap, I don't know. But the 1:11 more of a representative time here, as we got a 1:10.9 from CF23. As we've got cautions in sector 2 and 3. I'm guessing that's people just worrying about traffic getting out the way and whatnot. But a 1:10.9. Queue times, my prediction for this race, I'm expecting a low 1:10 is going to be pole. I reckon somebody's going to pull that out of the bag if they can get a lap together. I certainly expect them to. Let's see who else we've got here on a lap currently. Warming up the tyres there is DV. Here comes Croaky. Let's follow him on a lap as we go flying through the first sector around the right-hander there. I think that's turn 5 as we go into 6 and 7. The first of the little chicanes here as we get onto the smaller back straight, if you like. of this circuit, coming up down underneath the little tunnel there into another right-left chicane this time, getting as close to the wall as you dare, really, or risk you lose lap time, but you are tantalisingly close to that wall, and you could easily stick a tyre in there, or just rub up against it, and you're going to scrub some lap time, potentially cause some damage to your car, and that's not what you want. As we come down the casino straight, full throttle, DRS wide open, turn 13 and 14, Wall of Champions on the outside, Wall of Losers on the inside, as we make our way up to the start-finish line. And it's a 1:11.111, all the ones for Croaky 14, as he sets his first flying lap, as I'm sure it is more of a banker lap and not really pushing it too much as of yet. See what else we can get here. I think it's the lap data is the one I enjoy, so that we can see what sort of sector times people are doing, whether they're up or down on their laps. As you can see there, we're 5 seconds down, as this is a cool down lap now for Croaky, as he makes his way, I'm assuming, back to the pits, or if he is going for a cool down lap, he might wind up for another one next time round. As I think we can see, as a 10.8 from Maka, there's a bit more what I'm expecting from him. As yep, there's our 13th contestant, Pikachu, back for round 2 of this championship. 6.5 minutes gone in Q1 already, and we've got 6 times on the board. 2 are out. I don't know what's happened to Snipes there. I wonder if he's crashed the car, actually. I doubt he would have retired, and I don't know what Apex is doing, but he's managed to disqualify his car, which is just fantastic for him. What a great start. He's going to be starting at the back of the grid for the race. As we still ride on board here with Maka as we make our way up to the hairpin. Want to make sure you get a nice wide sweeping arc through that corner, really maximise the lap time for it. This is not a fast lap, but nonetheless you can still get the idea of how the quickest way around the track is. 2.7 miles or 4.36 kilometres long, the circuit here at Canada. The Gilles Villeneuve circuit, named after, of course, the Canadian hero, homegrown hero of Gilles Villeneuve, named after him in 1982, after the tragic death for him that year. Before that, the island was it was originally named after the island, so it was called the Île Notre Dame circuit, of which the island is named, and the track is located on a little man-made island here, built in 1978. Actually, no, that's a lie. It was built way before then, but the circuit was purposefully built here for 1978. As Boosted and Maka have set an exact replica lap time to one another, and Michello, I will get it right at some point this evening, if not, I do apologise, set a 1:10.4, which is a more respected lap time of what I'm expecting pole position to be. As we got a few more cars making their way now out onto their outlaps for a second run at it for some, a first run at it for others. Let's see if we can ride on board with someone here. Who's on a quick one? It's Josh on a quick flying lap in the Haas, using all the road and then some, getting so close to the grass there. Makes his way round the hairpin. Needs to get a good exit here and get as much speed as you can. It's a long straight, and you make or break the lap really. If you get a poor exit, then you're going to be losing lap time all the way down here. And it's important to get your braking zone right as well as you fly into the chicane here, the right-left. Wall of Champions outside, don't hit it, that's not what you want. As he comes across the line, a 1:10.9, a little improvement, but not an improvement on the grid. But he does get a bit closer to Boosted there in the AlphaTauri. I think the Aston Martin here of CF23 is also on a hot lap. Let's see what he can do here as he's flying down the back straight into the chicane here under the bridge. Not many corners named after people here at this circuit. You've only got a couple. You've got T1 is, it doesn't have a name actually, it's just T1. T2 is Virage, or sometimes referred to as Senna. T10, the hairpin, as we've just gone flying through. You got the back straight, which is Casino Straight. And then for me, you got the Wall of Champions and the Wall of Losers, which is the one on the left-hand side as you go flying through the corner chicane of turn 13 and 14 here at the Canadian Grand Prix. As we're actually coming, it was an in-lap here for the CF23. Mr. CF, we'll call him. As I think potentially the Mercedes here is on a flyer of monumental 9781, as there is a car pulled over on the right hand side there. I'd imagine just trying to get out of the way of Monumental here on his flying lap. Track record here in time trial through not a cheated time, well, what I assume is not a cheated time, is held by Syra, who for me, he's I think he's an Xbox runner. I'm not even sure if he's an esports guy, but he's always up there, and he's done a 108.7. Well, I don't think they'll be getting near that today, but if you can get within, like I say, low 110, and I think you're in a good shout, really, of taking that pole position today, as Pikachu sets a 110.4, just a couple of thousandths off of Misello there. In the Red Bull, and that's going to be a fight for P1 there today, as well as Croaky, and I wouldn't even count out Mr. CF there. A couple of attempts back on his outlap now, but he can definitely get right in the mix. As Maka just at a 110.1, there it is! I told you the low 110s is where you want to be, as we've got a couple of cars in the pits. One on an outlap, and Maka's just finished his lap, and he will now be slowing it down, bringing it in for an in-lap. But a 110.1, now that is going to be the time to beat, I think. If you can get it all hooked up together, make sure you don't cut any of the corners or get a toe wrong, you know, just a little bit too wide. And I think if you can hold it all together and get down to that time, you'll be in a good shout for making the front row, or if not, pole position, which is obviously the ultimate aim for it. As I am not too sure how long we have left in this session now, because we have a caution here in Sector 3. Let's see if I can find who is causing that. I think someone might have run out of fuel. Let's see if we can find anybody going very slowly. There it is, it's Josh, as he makes his way into the pits now, off the racing line. I think he had run out of fuel just at the end there, and was unfortunately trundling his way home. As everyone now, most of the cars are now into the pits, as they get all prepared and mentally and physically, in a way, prepared for their final run and try and snatch pole position, or just get as high up the grid as you possibly can to get the best start for the race afterwards. 50% race at Canada, it's going to be. It's 50% all year, and I'm not too sure how many number of laps that is. What is it for Canada? Somewhere around 70 odd laps, I believe. So I reckon you're looking at about 35, 36, somewhere around that sort of mark. Maybe a couple more, as it is quite a quick lap time around this circuit. As Misello now comes on to a flying lap. Braked it nice and early down into T1, through Rivage for T2, hooking it up nicely onto the apex there. Making his way flat here into the first chicane of 4-5. Getting it up close to the wall, not close to the wall actually. He's taking a nice cautious approach to it. He's 1/10 down through the first sector as we get to the second chicane now of the circuit. Onto this little back straight, as close as the wall as you dare go without touching. Coming down under the tunnel, under the bridge, into the next chicane. Right, left, as close to the wall as you dare once again. Try not to get it hooked onto the grass, because it will catch you, pull you in and slow you down big time. Half a second down now. I think he's going to back out of this one. I think that's lap over, unfortunately. It's not going to be an improvement for him. I think safest thing here, just bring it back into the pits, set up and go once again. As most of the grid is now into the pits. I'm sure he'll plough into there. Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of a weird pit straight, this one. As not so much the entry. Well, actually the entry a little bit, but more so the exit. you exit onto the racing line pretty much mid-corner, and can be quite tricky to navigate with traffic coming around, or racing coming around, sorry. That is a complete cut, that. He's taken to the air as he goes over the sausage curb. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, it's definitely not a lap. He's 1.5 seconds down. He's just making his way. I think maybe he's trying to speed his way back into the pit so he has just enough time to get out for one last run. He'll definitely have plenty of time. I've no concern for him there. He'll be absolutely fine. As we've got now a few others now coming out onto an outlap for their final run. Gambling on to go out first so they don't get caught up in anybody's accidents or incidents. It's not too big of a factor here in the virtual world. But if it was the real world, that is not what they would want. They would want a nice clean track in front of them and not get caught up whatsoever with any incidences. It's a nice clear sunny day here. And I have no idea what the weather will be like for the race. Chances are, though, it could rain. It's Canada after all. There is a good shout that there will be rain during the race, and that could really shake up the order of things. As I don't know how many people practice for it, so it would be interesting to see how that shakes the field up and around and really makes people think about strategy and what they've done with their setup, and that could be a factor here in qualifying. But if not, I'm sure they've stuck their dry setup on as Prior Tib gets ready, flying through the final chicane there, making his way down the start-finish straight, and will begin his final flying run, I'd imagine, through T1, through T2 of Virage, keeping it nicely tucked to the apex there, hugging it like his favourite aunt, as he almost gets onto the grass, using all the track. Absolutely flying. He's a 1/10 up. That's a good start there. That is a good start. If he can keep the momentum going, he's got a good chance here. Using all the track once again, getting it out nice and wide, almost kissing the wall as he does so. Under the tunnel, through the chicane here, hitting all the apexes nicely, and making his way up to the hairpin as DV has just set a faster lap time. Goes into P2 of a 1:10.3, and that is a pretty good lap. It's respectable, definitely. As it did cause me to miss what sort of lap time Prior Tib has got up to now. So it's going to be a case of seeing it out to the line. What's he got in up his sleeves here for his final run? Make sure you don't cut the final chicane. It's so easy to do. I think he's nailed that very nicely as he makes his way down now to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 1:10.2 P2 for Tib so far. That's a nice lap time. Very nice indeed. I'll still put him in good position for the race next time, as we now follow Misello here, who's equalled his first sector there. This is the man who I'm expecting to really put in a challenge for pole position. I think he's going to be one of my favourites with Maka today for the race win once again, but don't count out Pikachu last time, as we have a spin from the Mercedes. Who was that? Who was that? That was monumental with a spin. And what a monumental spin it was. Oh dear, that's his qualifying over. Unfortunately for him, it is P11, I think, and that is where he will stay as we finish the lap with Misello here, flying his way down the casino straight into the final chicane as DV has finished in It's P3 for DV, P8 for Joshua so far. What's going to be the final time here for Misello? It's a 1:10.8, it's not an improvement. He stays P4 for now. If anyone else can improve, now's the time to do it as we watch Sonic Pikachu come up to the line. This could be quick. It's a 1:09.8. P1 for Pikachu. What a lap time there. And I don't think Maka's got the answer. I think he's down on his lap time here. I think he's going to have to settle for P2 as he makes his way into the pits. Yes, P2 for Maka as we finish off here with the Ferrari also making their way into the pits as well. And Sonic Pikachu out of nowhere, a 1:09.897. What a lap from him. Beats my recommendations and manages to beat everyone else to pole as well. Congratulations, and especially after such a disappointing result from last time, really, when you think about it. that is the best way to come back and just say, I am fast, I can win, and stick it right on pole position. What a lap though. Got it all hooked up nicely. Beat my prediction by a couple of attempts as well, so fair play to him. As we can see the run down there, all the way down to P13. P12, P13, don't know what happened, but they did not set a lap at all. But the rundown for the grid is Pikachu P1, Maka P2, Prior Tib P3, nice result for him there. DV P4, Croaky P5, that's also pretty good. Marcelo, a disappointing P6, I'm expecting him to really hopefully make some positions up and give us some nice racing action in the race. Romlawn in P7, Josh P8, CF 23 P9, another that's a disappointing qualifying for him in the Aston Martin. Boosted RB P10 and rounding off P11 Monumental in the Mercedes. As we finish up here, and racing will start at 8:35 UK time, so that is about 3 minutes from now, as everyone will get their strategies all set up and into play, as it looks a bit cloudy over the Montreal sky. Could be a drop of rain, as I was talking about. I wonder if anything will come of that, and if so, how will that mix up the grid and, you know, the finishing positions here? All they have to do today is finish the race and they will score points. We have that MotoGP style of point finishes here once again, and if I find the image of how that works, I will let everybody know. But I think it works pretty similarly for the top 10 as if it was F1, but the numbers are a little bit more spread out so that you do get points down to P15. I'll see if I can find the screenshot. Here we go, the screenshot of how it works. At P1 you get 25, P2 you get 20, P3 will 16, 4 is 13, 5th you get 11, 6 you get 10, 7 you get 9, 8 you get 8. That's nice to see that one. 9 you get 7, 10 you get 6, and then you get 5 all the way down to 1 from P11 to P15, and unfortunately 16 to 20 will score no points. However, today that doesn't make a difference, as all of the drivers will be in the top 15, so points will be going out to everybody that does finish today. And all they have to do is make sure that they finish. I think that's the sensible thing to do, is just get to the end, and you'll be absolutely fine. If we are to have a dry race here, pit strategies from my notebook today. My option number 1, arguably the fastest, and I will say arguably because all 3 of these options are within about 3 seconds of one another, as I might not be able to tell you right now, but as we get ready to go under the way, 5 lights. Oh, they held for a long time, there they go. As we get underway here in Canada, Pikachu making a great start, Maka getting an awful start, down into P5, safely through T1 they go, and into T2. DV making absolute mincemeat of that and really getting a great start, and Micello also getting his car into position and taking great advantage as they make a little bit of contact but both get through safely, as there's a Ferrari in the back. He's crashed into the wall. Is he out? No, he's just lost the front wing, but that is his race definitely and already absolutely ruined, unless he can somehow get the car and nurse it back, and he's got to hope for a safety car at this point really, as they're already pretty lineared out as we go flying up through T9 towards T10, the hairpin, as we ride on board with Maka, who's had a bit of a dreadful start there, as one of the Ferraris is going to look up the inside of the Haas and make the move. Does he make it stick? Yes, he does, as the Aston Martin is also now looking to get him on the exit. Flying down the casino straight for the first time, we've got Pikachu, DV, Micello, Tib. Then we have the McLaren of Croaky, Maka right behind him in the Mercedes. As then we have Boosted in the AlphaTauri, Boschua in the Haas, Josh Bosch. Monumental making up a position in P9 in that other Mercedes. As we've got Apex in the Ferrari P10. As I don't know what's going on here. Is Maka disconnected? What's happening? He's ghosted. He's dropping down the field like nobody's business. I think something's going on there. His internet might have died, or he's paused it for some reason or another, as he continues to drop positions, dropping all the time. He's down into P11 now. Only one car between him and theoretically the back of the grid. Can Pikachu break the second gap to DV before the end of the lap? That is the question, and that is what he will be wanting and needing to do. It was only 186 metres down to turn 1. It wasn't a very long one, so everyone had the opportunity and chance, if they got a good start, to make some positions up, and by God, some of them have. I think Marcelo is definitely the biggest winner from all of that. As here we go, we'll get some position changes here. Actually, the biggest winner from that is Apex in the Ferrari, and the biggest loser is definitely Maka in that Mercedes. I don't know what has happened to him, as Marcelo, Tib, they're all setting the fastest lap, one after another, as we get on to lap 3 of this Grand Prix. DRS enabled, which will open that little flap in the back of the car and give them an extra boost of speed down the straights if they're within 1 second of the car in front. As Pikachu has now just got that second to DV, can he keep it at a second, if not pull it away, and hope that he can now just take off and run away with it? As I was saying, for tyre strategy here today, a lot of them are gone with hards. You've got a couple that are on the mediums and one on the softs, which explains why he's had such a good start at the beginning of this Grand Prix Apex there. But arguably the fastest strategy for me that I found was a medium to a hard, but a hard to a medium is the alternative, and it works just as well. Option number 2, you've got medium to soft. You're going to be pushing like mad and really needing to make sure you look after those tyres. But if you get a virtual safety car like you just have now, then you can easily save your tyre grip just that little bit, be on the quicker tyre for the majority of this race, and make it work. Option number 3, which I don't think is going to be an option here today, but if you see someone do it, it could spice things up a bit. Will be lots of overtaking action from them, and that is a 2-stop. Medium to soft, and really just pushing like hell with your strategy. As we got Croaky now into the pits, what has gone on here? He's got no front wing, so there's been a bit of contact somewhere. Unsure as to where and as to why, but luckily he's had this virtual safety car to help him out here, as I think it will be making its way in. As DV now has got a 3-second time penalty, as Maka has joined back. Unfortunately, it was the case that he had disconnected, but he is not out of this race. The gap between the spread of the field is not as big as you might think. And he can easily get some positions back and make some moves, and that should be an exciting race for him and for us here watching as well. As we get back under green once again, Monumental has made a monumental mistake and has got himself a penalty, as they are all now fighting for this position here of P7. There's 4 of them going down Casino Straight. DRS wide open. Will we get to see a move here as the Mercedes... He's in the wall! He's in the wall! Croaky's got a penalty. What has happened to Monumental? He's completely demolished the car. What a monumental moment. What has he done? Well, that's going to bring out a full safety car, and that has just completely messed up the strategy for everyone. And Apex making an early pit stop here. What has he gone on to now? Has he just put on a fresh set of softs? Now that is an interesting strategy call from Apex there, as Croaky and Lawn, who had to make the early stops due to damage, will now make time back, as the field will be closed up and brought back together once they all catch the safety car. Safety car, they're pulled over, letting them by, as they've not caught the leader just yet. Chances of a safety car from the real world, but chances of it was 50%, so 50-50, and we got one. I'm not really surprised, and it was the same for a VSC. The question really here is, once they've all bunched up, what's going to happen pits-wise, strategy-wise? What are people thinking? Apex going on to the soft tyre there, he's just made a stop. As has Croaky, as has Lawn had to make a stop here at the early stages of this race. 2 of them due to damage. One of them just because he, well, I don't know what his thought process is there. But he will be on fresher set of rubber, quicker set of rubber. And he will be wanting to push and make some positions up as we go green again after this safety car. But as they are all beginning to bunch up, waiting for Pikachu to catch the safety car on that back straight, shouldn't be too much longer, and they will all begin to slow down and the field spread will come back to them. My advice here would be not to push it too hard, save those tyres, get the most out of them and really just sort of run it in slow and keep as much tread on them as you can. As yeah, the first two here, first 3, 4, 5, here they all come now, backing up nicely behind the safety car. One more lap should do it, as the guys that are not caught up can run round at full speed, which does mean that their tyres will be nice and warm by the time they catch up to the back of the field. But it's still all to play for here at the start of this Canadian Grand Prix. Safety car 5 laps into the race, and we'll see how it plays out from here as we just wait for the remainers to catch back up, and then we can look for that safety car to come in and go green once again. As I think, should we have a look here? So we've got 2 3-second time penalties, one for DV and one for Croaky. That is not what you're going to be wanting at this circuit here today, as I think the field spread is not going to be that much. We've had the bottom 3 currently are the only ones that have made a stop. As I said before, there's 2 of them had to through damage, and one of them has gone for a very alternate strategy, which I have not got in my little notebook here, but I'm sure he's thought it through as to why he's done that, and we'll see how it pans out for him, really. The big winners from the beginning there at the start of the race, DV and Micello, up 2 and up 3 positions respectively to get themselves on the current podium in P2 and P3. Pikachu here is going to have to keep an eye on his mirrors when they get going underway. I bet DV and Micello both looking to really make a move and try and nick that P1 away from him. But all he has to do, play his cards right, play it sensible, just pick your good timing to go after the safety car's been in, and I'm sure he can make a break for it and potentially catch them off guard. Safety car in this lap will be the safety car. Back off now, Pikachu. Slow the field down, bunch them up nicely, let that safety car run away from you. That's a nice little angle, that is, isn't it? As you see them all piling through the hairpin. Quick little fact before we go green again. Canada is host to the longest F1 race in history. Back in 2011, if any of you remember it, it was that race where you had rain, then it was dry, then it was rain, and I think Button won the race on about 6 stops, and it lasted 4 hours, 4 minutes, 39 seconds. I don't think it'll be as long as that today, but there goes Pikachu, he's off. He's trying to catch them off guard as you go into the chicane there and down into the first corner. He's got a nice little break, and actually I think he's played that rather well. He's not under any threat from the cars behind in terms of a lunge or anything like that, as Tib has now got a 3-second warning as he's making his way through Rivage and down towards T4 and 5 here of the hairpin. I'm pretty certain it's 4 and 5, I can double check, but I'm pretty sure it is. No, it's 3 and 4. 5 is the right-hander before you get to here, 6 and 7, and you go onto the back straight. I've been naming it the wrong number this entire time, but without the names, it's pretty difficult to work out which is which. As Apex here, lining up another move. He's made one move already, and he's up into P9. As now, or actually, no, sorry, he hasn't made a move. He has just been P9, but he's all over the back. He's all over the gearbox here of the AlphaTauri of Snipes, as he's looking to go up the inside of the hairpin. Can he get it done under the brakes? Yes, he can. Clips the apex nicely, gets the move done. Thank you very much. And he will be wanting to make more inroads in this field with that fresh set of faster tyres as well. As we now make our way down Casino Straight into the final chicane. Don't hit it into the wall of champions, and whatever you do, don't hit it into the wall of losers. As we now make our way on to lap 9 of this Grand Prix. Snipes just having a little look there, trying to make a little look up the inside as Lorne makes a move on Maka. I don't know what's happened to Maka, I think he might have disconnected again. It's a sad day for him, unfortunately, and I don't know how points would work out for him, but if he can get back and race it again, or at least try to, then at least that way he can at least secure some points to keep his championship hopes going, keep them alive. I say that as we're 2 rounds in, not even finished round 2 yet. Anything could happen, it's all to play for. As Croaky making a move up the inside of the Alpha Tauri there of Snipes, making the move stick as well. Very nicely done from him there. As Snipes is now looking left, looking right, trying to go every way. But Croaky, oh, he's nicked it up the inside! Oh, what a move! That's the Mercedes. The Aston Martin is going to get in the way. They're going to go either side of him down the casino straight, as we could end up 3 wide into the hairpin at the end of this lap. It's going to be 2 wide. Is he going to make it 3? Oh my god. Croaky unfortunately missing out there. And this is not even under DRS. They'll be using all of the ERS as Croaky's now looking to go up the inside, forcing his way up the inside of this corner as we go into T1. Makes the move once again on Snipes through Rivage of T2, and hopefully this time he makes it stick. Whew, we got some action there, didn't we? As he now goes chasing after the Aston Martin of CF. Oh, there's a little slide. I think he's got it all under wraps. Yeah, he's looking good. I think that just a little slide, but he's got it under control. As Snipes is now coming increasingly under pressure from Lorne and Maka, the 2 cars behind, as we still ride on board here with Croaky. As I can see, Pikachu has once again managed to pull out a second advantage on P2, and that is exactly what he wants, so he can dictate and control this race from here on through the hairpin. There's a Ferrari round of Apex. Oh no, it's all gone wrong. He's down to the back of the field as he's managed to spin it. The DRS wide open here for Croaky in the McLaren. Up the inside. He's going to get the move done before we even get to the hairpin corner. Lovely move from him there. A little bit of a cut, but I think he might get away with that, as a 3-second penalty heads to the way of Snipes in the Alpha Tauri. As now Croaky with a 3-second gap up to Boschua in the Haas. See if he can close down, as he is already. He's already gained half a second in the first sector alone. He's still climbing, as CF gets a 3-second time penalty as well. There's a little group up ahead, so actually that could be hindering Boschua here. This group's extending all the way up to P2, so if Croaky can get onto the back of this, and he's looking pretty racy, pretty feisty, he could get in a shout here of potentially moving up into the podium position, which I'm sure he will absolutely love. As we ride on board here with Josh Boschua in P6 in the Haas. No penalties for him, which is fantastic, as he will gain a position there from the likes of the Williams up ahead, and potentially even DV in the Alfa Romeo. As Michel goes for the move into the hairpin, gets it done before they even get the car stopped, and moves on up into P2, and he can now go charging down Pikachu and potentially put in a challenge for P1. As the Alpha Tauri there have boosted, looking up the inside of DV. As they're getting a little bit squirrely on exit. This is basically a 6-car battle for P2 at this point, as they are all within the DRS zones of one another. Croaky about to get onto the back of it to make it that 6-car battle for P2. And this could get very interesting indeed, and I think this could also come down to who's got the best pit stop strategy and who's looking after their fuel best as well, depending on how much they put in the car. As Micello is actually already eating into that 2-second lead that was from him to Pikachu. It's now 1.6, as DV is on the gearbox. Nose to tail it is this group here. As you've got Micello, DV, Boosted, Pride Tib, Joshua Boschua, and now Croaky just about to eat into that second, and he will also pick up the DRS, as we've got a move there of the Alfa Romeo on the Red Bull. He gets it done into the chicane. Lovely move from him there. As he's spun and he's out. They're both out. What is going on? Micello's into the wall of losers, as was DV, and they've both spun. DV, fortunately, able to continue racing, as we now have a second safety car out in this Grand Prix. What is going on? as Boosted is now up into P2, and he's made 8 positions since the start of this race. And once again, it's all gone wrong for DV, and it's for the second week in a row. That is, well, last week he was out completely. This week he's lost the front wing, so he's not out of this completely. But that is not the strategy he wanted, and that is not the race he was looking for either. Especially being on this hard tyre, he's definitely going to have to put the mediums on. But from here, I'd say the best strategy call, medium to the end of the race. You're going to have to make an extra stop. If you really try and get that medium to the end, you will be pushing it. And you will be pushing it quite hard on those tyres to make them last that long. As he almost runs into the back of Croaky there. As they go into the hairpin, you need to slow down and calm down. What's done is done. You're still in this race. You can still pick up some decent points. You're quick. As Pikachu's picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. And that is going to completely ruin his afternoon. He's going to have to serve it. He can't serve it under the safety car. He's going to have to serve that under racing conditions. And that is not what he wanted at all. As sensibly, I think DV has put on the soft tyres there. So soft to mediums for the rest of this race for him. And I think that is a sensible decision. Medium would also do. But soft medium is absolutely fine as well. Especially as we go now on to lap 14 under safety car conditions. And he luckily just nips out in front of CF in the Aston Martin. Not having the best of days so far is CF. But he's still in it, and the way things are going, he could still pick up some points, and some good points as well. As we all begin to slow down and make our way to the back of the safety car. Croaky opting to stay out under safety car, sticking to those medium wall tyres. As we ride on board here with Pikachu, also now onto the fresh medium rubber. And you probably could get these to the end if you really wanted to. However, I still think one more stop is going to be the best strategy now. As you'll be running on very little rubber by the end of this race. Safety car, that's a late call to bring the safety car in this lap. But all of the drivers will be up to the back of one another come the end of it. As we ride back on board. The TV view here. As I don't know quite what the strategy Croaky is going for. He's still not gone, he's still slow, and I think he's now gone for it now. He's gone for it now, as Boosted has actually got an amazing drive off the final corner there. Snipes with another second warning, but Sonic Pikachu is definitely going to be under threat, as Boosted goes up the inside, but then Sonic's going to have the inside line for the next corner. You've got him going around the outside, round the long way. He's going to squeeze him up to the wall as they make a little bit of contact as we'll ride on board here. Has he been able to just fend him off a little bit as Boosted now makes a mistake, and he's now going to be under pressure from the car behind of Josh as we got the Williams of Tibbet, and there's a car round. There's a car round. Boschu has been spun. And we've got a virtual safety car. What is going on? What is going on? And DV, who was down in P7 or P8, after that safety car is already back to P4, and he could definitely still look at a podium. It's still on the card. Even the win is still on the cards. I wouldn't rule anything out at this point. You've got 20 laps to go. We're under VSC, and I don't know quite what has happened, but Pikachu is now 2.2 seconds behind Croaky, as I'm not sure he's going to a proper safety car speed. He seems to be pulling out a gap. He needs to watch it, or he will pick up another penalty. As I think he's just let the gap drop back down there to what it should roughly be. As DV is back into the pits now. And I wonder, is he going to stick on the hards? No, he's gone for the mediums. They will definitely get him to the end of this race now. And actually, that's a smart decision by him. Under VSC, he'll lose a lot less time than he would under normal racing conditions. That's a smart strategy there, actually, by the man. As VSC has now ended, and we're back under green conditions, And there is a 1.5-second gap from P1 to P2, and the same sort of distance between P2 and P3. But behind that, everyone's bunched up rather nicely, and we should get some more overtaking action, providing they don't all hit each other off, as seems to be the case so far. The driving standards here today, I'm not too sure, but they're sketchy at best. As I expect DV to fully make his way through the field here, and especially towards the end of this race, potentially start looking at sniffing at a podium, providing everything goes all right for him and nothing goes awry. As we make our way down the casino straight for the 16th time in this race. The Aston Martin there losing a position out to Snipes, I believe, as you go through the chicane. Just about one by one. DRS enable once again, and the Ferrari there. As what happened to Pikachu? Pikachu is in the pits, and I think he's serving his penalty. That makes sense. Get it out the way done nice and early. Get a nice bit of clean track at the back of the track. I think that's a sensible option there for him as well. He can just start banging in some fast lap times. As we ride on board here with the Aston Martin of CF, he's just sticking in the race just by being there. He's made his way up to P6 as we follow him chasing down the Ferrari of Apex in P5, as DV has now got another 3-second time penalty, and that is not what he needs this afternoon. Maka now looking to make some moves on the Aston Martin of CF23, Mr. CF, as we come flying down into the hairpin. Can he get it done under the braking here? I think he's going to wait and hold off until we get onto the back straight here and has that DRS wide open as we now ride on board with him down Casino Straight and through the little kink here, which I believe is turn 12. I wouldn't call it a turn, but it is. Boosted now picks up 3 seconds worth of penalties. That's not what he needs this afternoon, but he is now in P1. What's happened there? I think he just had the DRS on him. But a battle for P1, and they're all, I believe now, I think we're going to have to change this to who's got what penalties, because we can see then where the finishing positions sort of end up. So the top 3 are fighting for position. And Apex, the unlikeliest of candidates in the Ferrari, providing he can stick with them, will definitely pick up some points and pick up some positions here. As the Ferrari of Lawn just sets the fastest lap of a 1:12.7 for him. Also no penalties at the moment. As we ride on board now with Pikachu, who is just over a second behind DV. Can he close this gap up? And if so, can they both then make their way all the way back to the front of the grid? As Apex now makes a move on Snipes up to P4 and back down to P5. What's going on there? Are they running side by side, I wonder? As we've got a 4-way battle for P3. Is it P4 even? P4. As Croaky's now down into P3. I wonder what is going on with his race all of a sudden. Or maybe he's nursing the car with some damage. Who knows for the moment. As they make their way into T1. As the Aston Martin almost goes into the back of the Ferrari. Runs it deep. Just about manages to hold on. And is he going to keep Maka behind? I don't think he's going to. I think Maka's going to have the inside line here for T3. But he backs out early. As... plays it sensibly, doesn't want to get squeezed to the apex and spun around. Sensible driving there from Maka, and he knows all he has to do as well is just stick within the, the cars in front. As there's a little bit of contact between the Ferrari and the Alfa Tauri, as he now has 9 seconds worth of penalties. Here goes the Aston Martin up the inside. Can he get 2 into 1? Yes, he can. As round goes the Ferrari. What a move there from the Aston Martin, up from P6 up into P4 in one move in one corner. Lovely stuff from CF23. That's an unfortunate spin there for Apex. And he's now down into P8 behind DV and behind Pikachu, who has also dropped considerably back from DV. He's now 4 seconds gap rather than a second. I also wonder what is going on there. Maybe he's just taking it easy so that he doesn't get that penalty, knowing that he will get some positions back towards the end of this race, as I'm sure Maka is thinking the exact same as well, as he is now P6 after he dropped down into P12 at the start of this race through disconnection. He's joined back in, he's making his way up to P6, and the cars in front, all of them having some time penalties to their name, as round goes Snipes into the wall. And, oh, he's tried to spin it back around. He's hit the other wall. He's now down into P7. And he's now lost it again. What is he doing? No, that is not what you want to see. He's almost completely taken out Apex. Pushed him right up to the wall. And I'm surprised there wasn't contact. That's outrageous from Snipes there. As he completely misses the corner, takes another penalty, and I'm questioning, should he even be in this race? Should he even be allowed to race? This is outrageous. 3 seconds, 6 seconds I can understand, and I can understand 12 seconds, providing he was quick and at the front of the grid. Because then you know he's cutting the corner for speed. But no, at this rate, he's not cutting the corner for speed, he's cutting the corner for cutting the corner. So as he goes for the move on the Ferrari, hits the Ferrari, as DF has now retired. He's in the Wall of Champions! DF is in the Wall of Champions! And Snipes has also hit the wall. What is he doing? As we have a third safety car now. Another safety car in this race. And as I said at the start of this race, all you have to do is finish. And you would score points. But from 30... As Snipes has hit the safety car. He's hit the safety car. I really don't think he should be in this. And by that, I don't think he should be part of this league. He's obviously not taking it seriously. I have to keep an unbiased head on this, but I also would like to keep the driving standards to a nice standard, so that I actually have some good racing to talk over. But that is not what that was. That is not good racing, and I really don't think he should be here. Because that is absolutely atrocious driving standards from Snipes there. So Apex has clarified in the chat, as I'm sure you can see, and I had no idea, and I did forget about it. He had a quali ban, so that makes perfect sense as to why he DQ'd himself at the beginning of this race. As Croaky now has a drive-through penalty, and that is definitely going to hamper his race as well. He's just come through the pits onto a fresh set of tyres. Into P5 he goes once again, and Apex up into P6. I don't know how he's managed to message the group chat, or not the group chat, the live stream, but he's done it at some point or another. He did that about 45 minutes ago. That might explain what he was talking when he did it, because that would have been during qualifying. As there's a big gap there from P2 all the way back to P3 of Pikachu. As the safety car begins to collect everybody, I'm assuming it has the front two. Yes, it does. Boosted leading the Grand Prix, followed by Prior Tib, followed by Pikachu back into P3, and in the hot seat, as I am expecting him to really go on and win this race now. No penalties, right behind the two front guys who do have penalties, and also followed by other drivers who also have penalties. So all to play for, but if I am a betting man, I'll be putting my money on Pikachu right now. As CF, through just simply keeping his nose clean, has made his way up into P4 from, I think, he started P9 at this race. If I make a move onto here and have a little look. Yes, started P9, up into P4, 5 position gain for him, and boosted currently with a 9 position gain. Absolutely sensational start from him there. That's fantastic. As we all get collected up by the safety car, the current rundown of the grid, the top 9, because there is only 9 left from the starting 13. We have Boosted RB, Prior Tib in the Williams, Pikachu in the Alpine, CF23, Mr. CF in the Aston Martin, Croaky in P5 in the McLaren, but with a drive-through, so expect him to drop down further through the grid. As we then make our way to Apex in the Ferrari, Boschua in the Haas, Lawn in the other Ferrari, and Maka all the way down in P9 in the Mercedes. But I would imagine he is on fresh tyres, and he will definitely be looking to come through the grid as quick and as best as possible. As I just take a sip of my drink for my throat, so as it not dry out and not get too sore by the end of this. But there's been action all around this Grand Prix, and it's not been good action, all of it. Some of it been a bit dicey, and some of it has just been outright ridiculous. But here we are, coming on to the start of lap 24 under safety car for the third time, as this is the third safety car and 2 VSCs that we have had this evening. And I think by the end of this lap, Maka would have also caught up to the back of the field, so we should go green again, as he pretty much will catch them before they even end Sector 1, I reckon. Don't push your tyres too hard now, Maka. You want to make sure they get to the end and make sure they have enough grip over your competitors. However, I expect the safety car to be coming in at the end of this lap, which will be lap 24, as we then go racing for lap 25 for the final 10 laps of this Grand Prix. So we follow on here with Pikachu, lining up nicely behind the safety car, and looking to get some moves done here when we go green once again. He doesn't have to though, he could just sit behind the two, but then he'll have to make sure he's defending from behind. But if he can just keep his nose clean, no penalties, all he has to do is finish within 3 seconds of the guys in front, and he will pick up those positions handily. Not to say he doesn't have the pace for it, he absolutely does. As the safety car now has been called in, and Boosted RB will slow this little pack up, because that is what it is, a little pack, 9 cars that we have here racing around Montreal, the Gilles Villeneuve circuit, as they all desperately try and get some heat into the tyres before they get going under green once again. Can he catch any of them off guard, Boosted, here, and try and get a little breakaway? What he's hoping for really is to break away himself and have Prior Tib hold up the rest of the pack, as he still hasn't gone just yet, and now he's gonna go, as I think a few people were caught off guard by that, expecting him to go through the final chicane, but he hadn't quite done it, as CF is looking to make a move, and Croaky round the outside of CF into T1 and into T2. He has the inside line. What a move there from Croaky. Lovely stuff under the green flag as we got racing once again, and CF has been caught napping. He was looking to make a move himself, but didn't think about the cars coming from behind, and absolutely caught napping, and Croaky taking full advantage of that and making up a position. Now that was a great move, and that is what we want to see more of. As now the Haas of Boschua is looking to make a move onto Croaky, thinks better of it, sits just back in, as Croaky now has another 3-second time penalty on top of his drive-through. I don't think it's going to be a great day for him where he will finish, but who knows what's going to happen as he's making the move on Pikachu. They're side by side, they almost touch as they come onto Casino Straight. They're still side by side, they're getting pushed right up against the wall. They're wheel to wheel as they go into the final chicane, and Croaky just about gets the move done. Oh, there's a bit of contact there, and I think Pikachu's just hit the wall of champions and taken his front wing off almost. He's definitely lost the end plates, or at least one of the end plates, and I think he's definitely going to want to come in for one last time and pit, I'd imagine now, for soft tyres to the end of this Grand Prix. Croaky now up into P2 for now. As I say, he will definitely need to... Oh, there's contact once again with Maka in the McLaren. I wonder if he got damage from that. I think he might have got away with it, as things go from looking great to looking awful for Pikachu, who's now down into P8, second to last effectively, as we ride on board with Apex here, looking to make some extra little positions up. And I tell you what, Apex and even Boschua here looking to really go for the win, if not at least a podium, as Croaky has now got past Boosted. He's into P1. He won't stay there for long, but he's got the move done nonetheless, showing he does have pace and showing that he can race, as Boosted now comes back down into the final chicane. as Croaky has to take his drive-through penalty. Boosted now though with another penalty. That's 6 seconds. As Prior Tib makes the move as he got a poor exit boosted out of the final chicane. As Boschua now makes his way up into P3 and P4 goes Apex as Mr. CF is trying to go down his inside, and here comes Maka into the fray. The top 6 separated by very, very little. Some with penalties, some without, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor as we get into the closing stages of this Grand Prix. We've got 8 laps to go as things are getting real hot and spicy at the Montreal circuit. Tib leading the Grand Prix, followed closely by Boosted, and Joshua is not out of this. He's just over a second, but doesn't have any penalties, and neither does Apex, as Maka makes the move on the Aston Martin of Mr. CF and up into P5 as well. And like I say, this 3 from 3rd down to 4th, they could be the ones fighting for the win here, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if they are the ones that are fighting for the win come the end of this race, as Josh is now into the DRS of the 2 guys ahead of them as they are fighting now, going down into the final chicane as they get run right up to the end of the wall. DRS going to be open on the Boosted RB's car, gets the move done before T1, lovely move there, and gets it stopped just in time for Virage of T2 as well. But this fighting amongst themselves has allowed Josh, Apex and Maka to close the gap right up, and they can actually overtake on track for the legit win, if you like. I think that's probably what's going through their heads. They'd rather win this on track as opposed to through penalties. Oh, this is all going to get all sorts of spicy come the end of this Grand Prix as they come barrelling now through the chicane after the back straight under the tunnel as they now make their way up to the corner of T10, the hairpin here at Gilles Villeneuve circuit on the little man-made island once again as they're getting pushed right up to the grass there. The house of Josh. Don't hit the wall, Josh. Just sit behind him if you have to. That's the best strategy. You haven't got a penalty. He has. He's the one that needs to worry. And if anything, I think you're in the best position here just to sit behind. But if you can get the move done, go for it. Here you go. Better traction out of the final corner. Over the start-finish line. He's got the move done before we get down into T1. And Josh moves up nicely into P2 of this Grand Prix. Through Virage once again. Lap 29 of this Grand Prix. As he's now eyeing up Boosted RPs. Alpha Tauri. As Josh now picks up a penalty. Now this is for the win between him and Tib. I say that as Apex and Maka are right behind them, so I say that it's not really. It's a win. It's looking for a win for those two, but this could all still shake out very differently come the end of the race. As Josh now goes up into P1, can he now pull away? Because that's what he'll be aiming to do. As Boosted now slots down into P2, followed by Tib, followed by Apex, and followed by Maka in that Mercedes. Looking very, very racely, all 5 of them. As there's slight contact. There's slight contact. Tibbs hit the back of Boosted, he's gone round and he's dropped down to P5, and that's allowed Apex and Maka up into P2 and P3. And those two are going to be the ones that are fighting for this win. As Lorne now finally picks up a 3-second time penalty, not that he's going further down the grid, but 3 seconds nonetheless. I wonder if Pikachu, as Croaky has now moved up into P6, and Lorne has gained 10 seconds worth of time, and he's DNF'd, so never mind from Lorne there. I guess nobody wants points today. The question is, can Pikachu make up that big time gap in 5 laps? I don't think he's going to, but it'd be a miracle if he did, to see if he can pick up some points. He still might pick up some points as the amount of penalties the people have in front. All he has to do is get within 6 seconds and he could easily make his way up to P5 by the end of this Grand Prix. However, the battle for the win is on between Apex and Maka. Maka 2 tenths behind Apex, who's also following Joshua in the Haas up front, and all he has to do is sit behind him, say thank you for that DRS, I'm just going to use it to defend against Maka, and that will be the win for me. As he makes a little mistake going into the hairpin, he lost the traction at the rear of the car. That's going to cost him on the exit. Definitely going to be a use of hers there to try and save the position from Maka, and he does it handily as well. DRS not even open on the Ferrari. He doesn't need it right now, as he safely makes his way through the chicane. DRS will be open now, I'd imagine, to make sure that he can defend from Maka, as he's still just leisurely, I say leisurely, he'll definitely be under a lot of intense pressure, but he'll gladly just follow Joshua Boshua home for P1 of this Grand Prix. 4 laps to go, and anything could still happen, as Pikachu has actually made a move. He's up into P7. So, I don't know what's happened to CF23, Mr. CF, but he's down in P8. 9 seconds worth of penalties, but he's actually made the move into P7, so he's now looking to try and chase down P6. He's got 6 seconds worth of penalties to think about with that as well, and he could get the positions quite easily, I'd imagine. But it's all happening at the sharp end between the front 3 drivers here. Prior Tibbs still not out of this. I wouldn't count him out. If he can stick and potentially get back in the DRS zone of Maka, it could still all be to play for him as well, as I'm sure things will begin to get a little bit desperate into the last 2 or 3 laps of this Grand Prix. Apex holding his own, built up a little bit of a gap back to Maka. If he could stick within the DRS of Josh, but drop out, you know, get Maka to drop out the DRS behind, that would be the ideal scenario for Apex there. It's whether it can actually be done. But he's just sitting in behind Josh, playing it safely, taking it calmly, and this is exactly how he wants it to play out, I would imagine. As Croaky now looks as though he's lining up a move on Boosted. The 2 attempts adrift, they're almost side by side. Trying to go the long way round, doesn't quite have enough legs to be side by side through the chicane there. As we now go on to the back straight, DRS going to be wide open on Croaky's car. He's going to potentially get the move down as Boosted goes defensive. They're side by side. He's trying to do it the long way round the outside. He just about does it. They're still side by side as they go up to the hairpin. Who's going to get there? Who's got the better traction? Boosted back ahead once again. Croaky into behind. I'd imagine he did that strategically to make sure he does get the DRS down into the chicane on the Casino Straight. That would be the smartest thing, as you can play chicken there a little bit, and he should get this move done quite easily before you even get to the chicane, as he makes his way up into P5, and that will be for P5 as well, as both of them have 6 seconds worth of time penalty. So Boosted was once on, you know, first place, is now down into P6. So this has not gone quite as well as he was hoping, and I thought he was honestly going to be a bit further up the grid as well. But a bit of contact with Tib, and it's all gone a little bit wrong for him. But fair play to Croaky. He got the move, he got it done in a difficult position, and he got it done the hard way as well. Didn't make it easy for him. Boosted definitely didn't make it easy for him. But fair play, got the move done. As I think things are getting hotted up as we look into P1 down into P3, separated by half a second. They're nose to tail, all 3 of them. As we go into the hairpin for the 33rd time, gets right up close, almost touches the back of Josh there in the Haas, and gets good traction out of the corner as well. That'll give him enough of a breathing space so that he doesn't get overtaken by Maka behind. Now what he could also do here is actually get a car in between him and Maka, and that'll make things even harder for him as we go into the final chicane. Don't pick up a penalty here. You can do this, Apex. It's all you. As Croaky picks up another 3 seconds worth of time penalties, but so does Boosted. So both of them on 9 seconds, but that does bring Pikachu up into P5 currently, if they finish like this, as Apex is now officially P1, followed by Josh, followed by Maka. Maka going to want to have to make the move here on Josh, as a second has now been pulled out as Josh made a mistake into the chicane there. And this is exactly what Apex needs. All he has to do is keep his calm, keep his nerve, and just finish this as it is, and he will be the winner of the Canadian Grand Prix. I can't quite believe it. From a man that got disqualified from qualifying, is all the way up into P1. And he is currently looking like he could do this. He's got fresher rubber than the car behind. He should have about the same sort of rubber situation as Maka, I believe. As we had a random person join the lobby. I don't know who that is. Don't know why they have joined, but there they are. As down the final straight of Casino, into the chicane. Now make sure you don't cut the corners, don't get a penalty, take it nice and slow. Not slow, take it nice and easy, should I say, as they are now within 1 second of apex, but he's keeping his calm, keeping his cool. Maka looking to try and get past Boschua before the end of this race, as Croaky is now closing up to the back of them for the final lap of this Grand Prix. Lap 35, how's it going to end? What's it all going to come down to? As Pikachu looking to finish, I think, P4 at this rate. The only way he could finish any better is if, I tell you what, he could finish better, depending on what the gap is to Boschua. He could even end up on the podium here at the end of this Grand Prix, as Maka is looking to make a move on Josh. DRS wide open, but I think Josh also has the DRS to defend from Apex up ahead. Make sure you don't get any penalties here, guys. This is interesting. You both still got a shot at the win. I think Apex could have this. He's just got to make sure round the final hairpin for the final time, and down the straight for the final time. Make sure you get a good exit. 7 attempts back to Boschua. He'll have the DRS open, so will Maka. Maka going to look for the move up the inside of Boschua, and he will potentially try and look for the move up to the inside of Apex, but I think, provided he gets through this final corner nice and safely, Apex is going to have it. DRS wide open, all the O's is going to be used, but it's going to be close to the line. It's Apex! 0.084 tenths of a second between him and Maka. But Apex, 0 to hero on this day, has managed to win the Canadian Grand Prix. And Maka, so close yet so far, finishes in second place. As we then finish off the Grand Prix, and Boschua manages to finish third in that house. What a great race from him there. God, what a finish to this Grand Prix. Tib down into P4. Croaky finishes P5, Pikachu finishing P6. I'm not sure quite how that has come about, but P6 is still a fairly decent result. I wouldn't be too disheartened from that, considering the race he had. Boosted RB finishes P7, and just about coming over the line now, we'll ride on board with him, is Mr. CF in the Aston Martin. I thought he'd gone into the wall then, but a little bit of lag, picks up a penalty, but he is going to finish the race nonetheless in P8, and that will still pick him up a decent amount of points as well. Like I say, we've got the MotoGP style of points here. What a finish. Apex, thoroughly deserving driver of the day. He's my driver of the day as well. My word, what a climactic end to the Canadian Grand Prix, and well done to Apex for the win there. Absolutely well deserved. And yeah, I don't know what to say about it. That was thrilling right up to the very end. It's a shame during the middle we had some drivers not sticking to what I would consider very good standards, but what a fantastic finish nonetheless. And well done to Apex, Maka and Joshua for the podiums that they've picked up today. But whew, what a finish. Well done everybody. I've been your host this evening. As you can see the rundown there, I've been your host. My name's Ashley, Titchyash on Twitch if you want to give it a follow. And we'll pick up next Monday for the British Grand Prix, I believe, as round 3 will commence of the GRL. And I'll be once again live here for Division 4. And hopefully we'll get a few more drivers in, and hopefully we'll get some better driving standards next time around. But thank you very much for tuning in, and I wish to see you all in the next one. Whew, what a finish. Wow. Goodbye.